Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Esports 101 webinar for April here. Welcome and thank you all for joining us. My name is Greg. Just to introduce myself quickly here, I am a partner success manager with GGLeagues. I grew up in Santa Monica, California, and I graduated from the University of Michigan studying environmental science. Before starting with GGLeagues, I worked with the California Science Center as a senior educator. And before that, or excuse me, after that, spent a lot of time coaching esports and developing some esports programs with the North American Scholastic Esports Federation. Currently, I live in Chicago, Illinois, and outside of gaming, I love to skateboard, read, and go camping in my spare time. Excuse me. So just to get started with a little bit of background info about esports and gaming in general, we'll talk about what are esports. Esports are defined as organized multiplayer video game competitions, and typically these are team-based, but can also be individual games as well. And these are usually watched by an audience. There are a wide variety of different esports out there, and all esports are video games, but not necessarily all video games are esports. For example, some games like The Sims or Animal Crossing, not necessarily very competitive compared to other games. Some of the really popular esports titles that are out there are some of these that are listed here. You may have heard of some of these like Fortnite, Overwatch, Rocket League, League of Legends, to name some of the most popular ones, as well as all of the sports games that are out there as well. A lot of these games fall into different genres of games. So one of the big ones, for example, are shooter games, first person or third person. Some of these examples can include games like Overwatch, battle royale games like Fortnite and Call of Duty, strategy games that are very similar to games of to like chess or card games. They include games like Hearthstone, Teamfight Tactics, or Age of Empires, if you're familiar with those. All of the traditional sports games that are out there as well. Like I mentioned, FIFA, NBA 2K, Madden. There are typically a lot of esports leagues that revolve around these traditional sport games as well. And then outside of that, fighting games, very popular, like Super Smash Bros., Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, as well as MOBA games, which is the category that League of Legends falls under, and probably one of the most popular genres currently. Recreational esports is growing quite a bit. 70% of kids often stop playing sports at the age of 13 or attending traditional rec programming in their local area. However, gaming often engages 90% of kids age 12 to 17. 54% of American families are starting to say that gaming is a good opportunity to socialize with their child and bond with them, as well as a lot of people are starting to see the educational aspects of video games and some of the benefits that come with video games, especially when you look at games like Minecraft. There's a lot you can do there to actually learn as well. The gaming, excuse me, industry itself has grown quite a bit. There are 2.7 billion gamers worldwide, with only 210 million of those being in North America. So just about 8% of the total player base. And that player base is projected to exceed 3 billion in 2023. And middle schools, high schools, and colleges across the country are starting to implement esports programs and adopt them at their school. Viewership for esports programming as well has grown quite a bit. You'll see by this graph we have over here on the right, when compared to a lot of traditional sports that are currently out there, like MLS, NHL, NBA, and Major League Baseball, for example, esports often has more viewership, excuse me, or is very close to these traditional sports. The only traditional sport that really exceeds esports is football. But all of the other ones listed here, it's a very close race or esports is actually more popular in some ways. This chart here also shows some of the biggest esports teams, esports professional teams that are out there. Over here on the left, for example, is Team Liquid and G2, those two over on the far left. The really cool thing about some of these professional esports teams and organizations is that unlike, say, the Los Angeles Dodgers or the Chicago Bulls, who can only have one team in baseball or basketball and only compete in those sports, a team like Team Liquid in the esports scene can have many different teams that compete in many different video games. So it allows these organizations to grow to be very big, and in some ways bigger than when you look at traditional sports organizations. This picture here also shows a League of Legends World Championship, I believe from 2016 or 2018. But this also shows just how much interest there is in actually attending some of these esports tournaments as well. And it's not just people watching from home or watching from their computers. There is enough interest to fill large arenas for these events as well. Just to highlight a few of the professional esports leagues that are out there. One that I wanted to touch on was Rocket League. So the RLCS or Rocket League Championship Series. This began in 2016. And in its most recent season has had upwards of a $1 million prize pool. One thing that's really cool about the RLCS compared to some other esports professional leagues, some of the players in the RLCS are as young as 15. So there are quite a few young players who are competing professionally in the RLCS. And you'll see by this chart over here on the right, even some players as young as 13 who are able to compete in these professional esports leagues. This table here shows some of the esports prize pools from recent tournaments compared to other traditional, more well-known sports. These ones that are highlighted in blue here are for esports tournaments for Dota 2, which is a very popular game similar to League of Legends, as well as Fortnite for the Fortnite World Cup that took place, I think, back in 2017 or 2018, if I remember correctly. But for these esports tournaments, they had prize pools of $3 million, over $3 million. And when you compare this to other traditional sports like Wimbledon, for example, the Indy 500, these esports tournaments often have larger prizes or, are very comparable when you look at some of these traditional sports. And I think that is continuing to grow with a lot of these esports leagues and tournaments that are out there. One other really cool thing about esports and gaming is that there are a lot of pathways that go into it outside of just playing the game professionally. Esports is a very inclusive activity. It's year round, it's social by nature, as well as it can be a platform for a lot of people. There are things that you can do related to gaming outside of just playing the game of itself, and it often is a way for people to find community. Traditional sports programming condition players mentally and physically, and esports does exactly the same. I know from my experience coaching high school esports, I can say that competing on an esports team or a high school esports team really helped my players in terms of communication, managing stress, cognitive functions, as well as just being able to reflect on individual and team performance as well. And another really cool thing that's developing with esports and gaming also is that colleges are starting to adopt esports and invest in new pathways for gaming and esports. There are over 250 university esports programs in the country. There are even some schools like my alma mater, University of Michigan, that even offer esports-based majors and minors at their schools. And a lot of these schools will offer scholarships for players to compete on their esports teams the same way they would offer scholarships for people to play on their basketball or their football team. And some of these schools listed down here are just a few examples of the many collegiate esports programs that are growing. This is not also just limited to collegiate. The high school scene is continuing to grow. More and more schools across the country are starting to grow and develop esports teams, esports programs, gaming centers at their schools or gaming clubs. Just for one example, the high school esports league works with over 3,400 schools participating across the country. Like I mentioned as well, there are a lot of other things that go into esports and gaming. I know for me personally, gaming has really helped me to learn a lot of other skills, such as media production, like running this stream that I'm doing right now, editing, so using software like Adobe Premiere or After Effects, as well as even live esports commentating. It can be very hard for people to get into traditional sports commentating, whereas in esports, just being knowledgeable about the game can often make you a very good commentator. Computer science as well, if you're interested in developing games or designing games, and then business and brand management on top of that as well, if you want to grow a community or a social media presence through gaming. And this month we'll be focusing on our educational theme of careers in gaming, but this image here just shows some of the many different pathways that are out there through esports. Just to go over some of the community esports benefits, like I mentioned earlier, it can really help with problem solving skills, health and mindfulness, so balancing emotions, hand-eye coordination, and just working with a team in general, as well as motivation, teamwork, situational awareness, and most importantly, I think communication, because often when you're competing in these games, it's all virtual. You're not actually seeing the people with your own eyes, so it makes voice communication that much important when you're competing together. But I know I've spent a lot of time talking about positives of gaming. What are some of the negative aspects of esports and gaming? A lot of parents in our community are often concerned with screen time management. So very important to play games in moderation, taking breaks and stretching if you are going to be playing games for a long period of time, as well as game choice and negative in-game commentary. Adult-rated games or graphically violent games. And we do have a great link down here for a cool study on gaming and addiction. And we also are working with an educational partner that focuses on a lot of those aspects of mental health and gaming as well. So just to give a little bit of detail about some of our educational partners that we work with, and that QR code I have there may not work anymore, I realize. But last week, we had our panel stream with the Gamers, one of our educational partners that focused on women in esports and gaming. The Gamers is a women-led community dedicated to amplifying and centering the voices of female gamers and gamers of marginalized genders. And their mission is to advance the role, voice, image, and power of all the gamers in the gaming world. Last week, we did have a live panel stream that featured Rebecca Dixon, who is the CEO and one of the co-founders of the Gamers, as well as Rebecca Longawa, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at the Gamers. So if you're interested in checking that out, those videos are available on our YouTube channel. But on top of working with the Gamers, we also work with Healthy Gamer. Healthy Gamer is a mental health platform designed to help the internet generation succeed. Excuse me. They were founded by Dr. Alok Kanogia, or Dr. K, as he's commonly known, who's a Harvard-trained psychiatrist and kind of one of the world experts in video game psychiatry. They offer some really great services on their website, and we're really excited to be able to offer discounts to our community if you're interested in any of these services. The first one I'll go over here is their action plan, which is kind of like a DIY step-by-step program for families to intervene in problematic gaming behavior and create healthy gaming habits for someone they know or for yourself. If you're interested in getting a discount for this action plan, you could use the code GGLeagues parent down at the bottom. And Healthy Gamer does also offer personal coaching. I believe we have group coaching here listed, but I believe right now they are only offering one-on-one coaching. But they do have one-on-one coaching sessions with their mental health experts available. And if you're interested in getting a 20% discount, feel free to use that code GGLeagues Partner down at the bottom as well. If you're interested in learning more about Healthy Gamer, we have some additional resources here for their website, their YouTube channel, and their blog to learn more. And similar with the, as we did with the Gamers, we did run an educational stream with Healthy Gamer as well. And if you're interested in seeing that, make sure to check out our social media pages there. One of our other educational partners I'll go over is the Coalition of Parents in Esports. COPE is led by parents of pro gamers and content creators to help other parents navigate and learn about the positive aspects of gaming. COPE's mission focuses on revolutionizing esports by getting parents involved and educating them on some of the benefits and career pathways that are associated with esports. We do have a few links here if you're interested in learning more about COPE, but they have some really cool streams that they do. And we did also run a panel discussion stream with COPE as well, which is available on our YouTube channel. So going into a little bit about our platform and our spring leagues that are coming up pretty soon and that registration will be closing next week for. So why choose GG Leagues? Your kids, or if you're a gamer yourself, you're probably already spending a lot of time gaming. The average gamer plays for over 6 hours a week in the United States. Playing in a league can provide a really social experience, which is often needed as we are still slowly getting back to normal from the pandemic. And it creates a feeling of togetherness online. Games are very inclusive, so it doesn't matter who's competing behind the screen. And here at GG Leagues, we provide a very structured and social environment that's safe for players of all ages. So our platform for our recreational leagues that we offer, a few things that players must have are the game that you would like to compete in, the console or system that you're planning to play on, a online subscription for that game, so like Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus if you need it, excuse me, as well as a stable internet connection are kind of the four must-haves in order to compete. What we provide on our end, we provide moderated game chats, referees, and league admins for all of our seasons, live support, leagues that are segmented by age division, private Fortnite lobbies, as well as easy to use platform that is compliant with the Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act. We work with over 370 rec agencies across the country with thousands of players competing on our platform throughout the seasons. On our website, you'll be able to find your local community and navigate to their club page. So you'll be able to search for a community that's near you and see if they're partnered with us here at GG Leagues and offering esports leagues. Once you're on your club page, you are able to subscribe to your club so that you'll be able to join their club, get all the important updates for any esports programs that are happening throughout the year. As well as once you join a league, on your match night, we will have private match pages for your games that will allow you to communicate with your opponent, give you all the information you'll need in order to join up with them. As well as with those chats, those are constantly moderated by our league referees and administrators. So if anyone ever needs to reach out for support, they can always do so during their matches on their league night. Excuse me. In order to compete in one of our seasons, players must purchase a season pass. A season pass unlocks quite a bit. One season pass costs $40. And with that $40 fee, you unlock all of the games that we are offering that season. So for example, if I purchase a spring season pass, I can join all 5 of these games that are listed here. On top of those games and the leagues that we'll be running, we do hold many one-off tournaments throughout the season, as well as educational events similar to what we're running here tonight. For the spring season coming up soon, we will be offering Rocket League, so a 1v1 and 3v3 league. And for Rocket League, we do have a beginner and advanced skill level as well. We will also be offering Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, available only on Nintendo Switch, Madden 22, available only on Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5, as well as Fortnite, Solos and Duos, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. For anyone who wins their leagues, we'll have some really awesome prizes, including Amazon gift cards and a GGLeagues Championship trophy and a t-shirt that's sent to them. For those games that I just mentioned, we break them up into different days of the week. Madden and Mario Kart leagues will take place on Mondays during the spring season. Fortnite solos on Tuesdays. Rocket League will take place on Wednesday. Super Smash Bros. On Thursday. And then Friday is Fortnite duos. The start times for these games will vary by age division. So our youth games will always start at 7 p.m. local time, teens at 8 p.m., and adults at 9 p.m. Some important dates if you're interested. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, we do not offer youth age divisions for Fortnite. So only teen and adult is available for Fortnite. But if you're interested in any of these leagues coming up in the spring season, those games will launch. The leagues themselves will launch the week of April 18th. The registration deadline on our website will be April 13th, so next Wednesday, right around midnight Central Time. The leagues themselves last 8 weeks total, and the last 2 weeks will be for our playoffs and championships in each league. At the end of the year, we also will be holding a national esports series. Last year, we ran our first NES for Super Smash Bros. And Rocket League 1v1. For this NES, we took all of the players who won from our fall, spring, summer, and winter seasons and invited them to compete in our national esports series free of charge. And they competed to be our national esports champion in these 2 games, and also for some awesome prizes, including cash prizes, gaming gear, and some other GG League swag as well. But that was everything I had to go over here. Like I mentioned, registration deadline for the spring leagues is coming up next week. So if you're interested in signing up, make sure to just head to ggleagues.com and you can search for your local community. If you are not able to find your community partnered with us, you are able to register through GG Leagues as well. But let me know if anyone has any questions. If not, thank you all very much for joining me tonight and hope you have a great rest of your evening. Take care.